Hi, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I bring you two very interesting Subaru models from Autoart in a 43rd scale. The top-of-the-range 3rd generation Legacies, the B4 and the GTB version. Sit back, follow me, and enjoy the video. Among model collectors, Autoart as a manufacturer needs no introduction. For many years, it was considered the etalon in the 1/18 scale, although today there are many manufacturers who can offer this level of scale at a lower price. But today we will go back in time and show you two model cars from the heyday of Autoart. But let's take them out of their boxes and have a closer look. I was very lucky with these two models. I didn't buy them at the same time, but I'm very happy that I found them both in the same color, and I'm very happy that I was able to buy them both at a very good price. Well below the price of a new Minichamp today. I know the 143 scale is less popular than say 118 or 1/64, but believe me, there are some models worth getting, like these two Legacy models. This type of Legacy is already available in High Story, for example, but it's resin, and for the price you can get one of these Autoart, and obviously Autoart in this scale is another level. After the two models have been unscrewed, I want to show you the sedan version first. It's a tough choice because I really like sporty sedans and sleeper wagons. The first thing that really struck me about both models is the color, and luckily this model is not blistered like many other manufacturers. The other detail that really catches the eye is the wheels, which are of course steered in the case of the Autoart. I think the manufacturer has done a very nice job on the taillights and the front headlights. The only thing I'm not happy with is the little brake light in the spoiler, but apart from that, I think it's a beautiful little model, and the chassis of the car. Well guys, I think it's really nice in this scale. But let's move on to the other model, the wagon version. In terms of details, there is not much difference between the two models from the front. All details are identical up to about the C-pillar. However, the main difference comes at the back. I really like the tail light. There is a heater in the rear windscreen, which unfortunately is now disproportionate. My other favorite detail on the wagons is the panoramic roof. Unfortunately, the sedan version doesn't even have a moonroof. Now let's take a closer look at the interior. The interior is identical throughout, with the only difference being that the wagon has a boot lid. Unfortunately, the color is very depressing black. There is a very small dark gray in the middle of the seats and on the door handles, which doesn't really help the situation. But I like the small silver elements, and the dashboard is very detailed for a 143. And now let's look at the two models together. Overall, my opinion about these two models is that if you are not a collector of 1/18 scale, I can only recommend this model, but if you collect 143 scale, I think this is a must-have in your collection. You can see that it is a little bit outdated in details, but it still holds its own with the new models. Moreover, you can still get this model for a pretty fair price on eBay. If you're lucky, you can get it for under 50 euros with shipping. In Subaru's history, there have been successful and less successful models, but the Legacy has been a model that has been very successful worldwide, but especially in North America. The Legacy is still Subaru's flagship model, and it wanted to conquer a segment where the successful Honda Accord, Mitsubishi Galant, and 626 Mazda were already present, but on the European front, it had to share the market with a number of rivals such as the BMW 5 Series, the Mercedes E-Class, and the Audi 100 Series, which was later renamed A6. The first generation of the Subaru Legacy was a very versatile car, basically only available with boxer 4-cylinder engines in front and all-wheel drive. The car was introduced in 1989 and from 1989 onwards was not only produced in Japan but also by Subaru of Indiana Automotive Inc. in the US. Most of the models were available with the all-wheel drive that made Subaru legendary. In 1990, the badge engineering version was released under the name Isuzu Aska. Typical of the Legacy, it was available in two body styles, a sedan and a station wagon. Despite being a relatively large car, the Legacy was still used in rally races, and it was not just anyone who made the Subaru name legendary, it was Colin McRae. Of course, in order to compete in rallying, they needed a model that would form the basis of the later rally version, and that was the RS Turbo with the legendary EJ20 turbo engine. At the time, rally races were contested against cars such as the Gullet VR4, second-generation Sierra RS Cosworth, Celica GD4, and Lancia Delta HF Integrail. Unfortunately, the Legacy didn't really live up to its reputation. The early 90s brought a big change in rallying, with everyone switching to smaller models, Mitsubishi from Galant to Lancer, Subaru from Legacy to Impreza, and Ford from Sierra to Escort. In 1993, the second generation arrived, with a much more modern design than its predecessor. The design was inspired by the SVX model. With this generation, Subaru clearly wanted to position the Legacy higher up the premium segment, and in terms of sales, it succeeded. One of its biggest markets was America, where all-wheel drive was already standard. It was the first model to have a sequential twin-turbo version available for the Japanese domestic market. In 1995, Subaru launched the Outback, which was essentially a raised version with extra plastic elements, essentially a precursor to the SU Versus, creating a new category. Later Volvo followed suit with the V70 XC or Cross County, and later Audi joined in with the A6 Avant-based Allroad. Unlike these models, the Outback also had a sedan version called SUS for the US market only. In 1997, production of the second generation was ended in Japan and 2 years later in America. In 1998, the third generation arrived and is the main character of this video. In Japan, the engine range was from 2-liter to 3-liter 6-cylinder boxer, but the top model was still the EJ20R engine, which was the B4 and GTB variant from the previous model. In the US market, the entry level was the 2.5-liter EJ25 in naturally aspirated form, followed by the EZ36-cylinder version. For the European market, the naturally aspirated EJ20 and 25 and the EZ30 were available. Of course, there was also an Outback version of the third-generation Legacy, but the biggest newcomer was the Baja, introduced in 2002. It was essentially a Legacy pickup version which was not far off the Subaru, as there was already a Leone-based version of the Brat in the 80s. The engines were the same as the other Legacies, but were later joined by the EJ25 turbo version of the Impreza WRX. However, what interests us more in this video is the B4 and the GTB pair. The beauty of the car is that it was the only Subaru to get this twin-turbo 2-liter power on it. By gentleman's agreement, this car also had 1280 horsepower coupled with 343 Nm of torque. The automatic transmission version was slightly weaker so as not to damage the automatic transmission. With an unladen weight of around 1.5 tons, it had a particularly good weight-to-horsepower ratio in the 90s. This resulted in 0 to 100 km/h acceleration of 5.5 till 5.7 seconds depending on the version. Its top speed was, according to some figures, just under 250 km/h. These figures were enough to rival the V8s of German premium cars such as the E39 540i, the C5A6 4.2 Quattro, or the E430 of the W10 series. Nothing is more demonstrate to the success of the Subaru Legacy than the fact that it is now in its 7th generation. Sadly, it is no longer available in some markets, probably due to emission standards, but it has been forced to withdraw from Europe, but fortunately it is still a popular model in other parts of the world. And now we've reached the end of the video. Don't forget I'll be back with a new video at the usual time next week. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I'm curious to know what you think. Please write in the comments section if you collect 1/43 scale Subaru models or which is your favorite Subaru model. If you like my video, please like it. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you don't want to miss out on similar content, please hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.